just throwing stuff out to see what sticks against the wall. This is a slick, slippery politician whose state is failing, people are leaving his state, and he's trying to run interference for his failure.
Well, the governors were eager to present their parties on the national stage. They battled over the economy, pandemic restrictions, and President Biden's leadership. Well, if you're looking to get into the holiday spirit tonight, head on down to the Ferry Building for a festive light show. KCBS's Shannon Golden tells us more about what to expect at this year's festive event.
Let's Glow SF, the country's biggest holiday projection event, is back in the city.
Anybody who is interested in the holidays, life, art, technology, and downtown San Francisco is more than welcome to join.
Says Melissa Buckminster, Director of Marketing and Communications for Downtown SF Partnership. This is the third year the nonprofit is hosting the event as part of their efforts to invigorate the 43 blocks across San Francisco's financial district and Jackson Square Historical District.
Downtown is a beautiful place to spend time and not just go into the office and work.
And in the spirit of the region's tech roots, 6 of the city's iconic buildings, including the Ferry Building, will be illuminated by high-tech projections and lasers with the help of A3 Visual.
They're the ones making these beautiful pieces of art come to life on these towering buildings.
There will be complimentary hot chocolate and snacks starting at 6, and Mayor London Breed is set to light the lights at 7 p.m. In San Francisco, I'm Shannon Golden, KCBS.
City leaders in Oakland want holiday shoppers to spend locally this year. KCBS's Raquel Maria Dillon explains what the city is doing to make that easier and safer.
Mayor Sheng Tao invited shoppers to browse the unique artisans and boutiques here on Piedmont Ave and elsewhere in Oakland.
We know that when our businesses are successful, that we are successful.
Oakland police say they're focused on the city's commercial corridors through the end of the year, stepping up patrols and assigning motor officers to neighborhoods. Here's Captain Jeff Thomason.
We want to let the public know that they can come and shop and dine in Oakland during the holiday season.
Melissa Roberts owns a jewelry boutique and works with the Merchants Association on Piedmont Ave.
I've been here 17 years on the Avenue, and I've lived through the economic recession, I've lived through COVID, and now we're going to live through this crime wave. You know, I feel as though Oakland is making an effort, and that's the most important thing.
She's optimistic about the holiday season. In Oakland, I'm Raquel Maria Dillon, KCBS.
It's time now to check financial news.
It may be a while before you see one on the road, but the first handful of Tesla Cybertrucks are now in the hands of customers. CEO Elon Musk delivered them personally at Tesla's Texas headquarters. We're also learning more about Cybertruck pricing. There are 3 versions starting at just under $61,000, but it won't be available till 2025. The most expensive has a nearly 6-figure price tag. The market for weight loss drugs is getting more crowded. Altimmune says a trial of its tenviditide saw more than half the patients enrolled lose at least 15% of their body weight. More than a third lost 20%. The ABC TV network is dipping into Hulu's library for the first season of Only Murders in the Building, after the writers and actors strikes left it starved for content. The 10-episode season will air on 4 consecutive Tuesdays, starting in January. Larry Kofsky, Bloomberg Business for KCBS.
Hey, radio listeners. Don't miss the Legacy Box Cyber Week sale going on now. You've heard about Legacy Box all year long, and with our Cyber Week sale, now is the time to take advantage of our best sale of the year. Legacy Box is the most meaningful gift you can give this holiday season. It's simple, safe, and has been trusted by millions. That's right, it's our best sale of the year. Right now, when you go to LegacyBox.com, you can save an unreal 65% on your Legacy Box. And for a limited time, you can preserve your tapes, film reels, and photos for as low as $27, saving you hundreds. Hurry, our best sale of the year won't last long. Visit LegacyBox.com for an unreal 65% off during our Cyber Week sale. With limited quantities ready to ship, this deal will go fast. Shop our Cyber Week sale now at LegacyBox.com/value to take 65% off. Buy your Legacy Box today and send in when you're ready. LegacyBox.com/value.
Stevie.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
What are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Stevie.
Well, what are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. Don't you remember me? Don't you know that we miss you?
know, all your friends in the forest. The trees, the pond, that little fort that you made out of branches. We all miss you.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
The forest is not that far away. Have an adventure today. I'm sure your mom would take you.
You're right. I should get out. I want to have fun. Play in puddles, catch frogs, and climb trees. Hey, Mom!
Yeah, hon?
Steven, what's that in your hand? It's my sense of adventure, Mom. It's telling me we need to get out of the house and have some fun in nature today.
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you live. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things, for our planet. Planning a road trip to visit family and friends this holiday season? Now is the perfect time to make sure your car is getting optimal gas mileage. First, check your tires and make sure they are inflated to proper pressure. Remove heavy items like golf clubs from your car and plan on packing light. And minimize stops on longer trips to help maximize your fuel economy. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Únete a nosotros en Odyssey mientras todos hacemos nuestra One Thing. Juntos millones de cosas por nuestro planeta.
Estas fiestas invierten luces de Navidad LED. Los LED duran años más que las luces normales, pero que se traducen en menos residuos electrónicos. Además, las luces LED son mucho más eficientes energéticamente, gastan menos energía en forma de calor, así que la cuenta de la electricidad será menor. Y asegúrate de reciclar las viejas luces navideñas en las instalaciones de residuos electrónicos adecuadas. Juntos, 1,000,000 de cosas para nuestro planeta. ¿Cuál es tu one thing?
Traffic and weather together on the 8th. Some major problems to update this morning. Here's Frank with the latest.
Well, and finally, some good news concerning this accident on the Upper East Shore, westbound 80, just past Cummings Skyway. All lanes have just now reopened a couple of minutes ago. In the wake of a 3-truck crash, one of those cars overturned and spilled oil on the roadway. Again, all lanes have reopened. Your next update at 1:38, a traffic leader, KCBS.
Hey, Bay Area weather, partly cloudy skies overnight, but we are going to see sunshine later this morning. And then by the afternoon and evening, clouds and a 20% chance of showers. Temperature's going to be slightly above average, mostly in the mid-60s today. Cloudy conditions and a slight chance of rain for the weekend. We've got traffic and weather together on KCBS.
You've heard it said, he's a diamond in the rough. Or maybe, diamonds are forever. Here's something else I've learned about diamonds. They're just pieces of coal put under pressure for a long, long, long time. So, when I start feeling like I want to give up, I think about that little piece of coal. And if that piece of coal can make something of itself by not giving up, so can I. Persistence is in you. From PassItOn.com.
Enjoy the holidays at the Top of the Mark's iconic Sky Lounge, offering breathtaking views of San Francisco since 1939. Visit kcbsradio.com/contest to enter for your chance to win a $500 gift certificate for the Top of the Mark at the Mark Hopkins Hotel on Nob Hill. News that matters to you, around the Bay, around the world, around the clock. All news, 106.9 and AM 740, KCBS.
It's Friday, December 1st. Coming up on KCBS, Israel says Hamas violated a temporary truce, and the military has resumed combat operations in the Gaza Strip.
I'm Megan Goldsby in Golden Gate Park on how this 35th World AIDS Day is being commemorated in the city.
And a positive attitude can help prevent dementia. We'll hear from the author of a new study. Good morning, I'm Brian Goebel, KCBS News Time, 1:31.
CBS News Brief. The 7-day-long truce between Israel and Hamas has come to an end. Meanwhile, the New York Times says Israeli officials learned of Hamas's plan for the October 7th attack more than a year before it happened. Bilal Saab at the Middle East Institute.
There's going to be a day of accountability for sure. It's not today because we're in the midst of war still. The Israeli public are not going to punish or exact political costs on this Israeli government. But that day is going to come.
The mother of a Palestinian student shot in Vermont is asking how she can keep her son safe. Tamara Tamimi spoke to CBS News.
If he can't be safe here, where on earth are we supposed to put him? Where are we supposed to be? And how am I supposed to protect him?
There's been an outbreak of pediatric pneumonia cases in Ohio, says CBS's Meg Oliver.
In Warren County, north of Cincinnati, health officials have declared an outbreak of pneumonia in children. They say
respiratory infections since August.
CBS News Brief, I'm Christopher Cruz.
And your Friday morning news watch continues on KCBS. We all know that exhibiting a positive attitude on a day-to-day basis can lead to a happier life, but it can also prevent dementia. That's out of a recent study from UC Davis and Northwestern University, where scientists looked into the association between personality traits and dementia-related impairments. To hear what they found, KCBS's Brett Burkhardt spoke with Dr. Emery Beck, assistant professor in psychology at UC Davis and lead author of this study.
This subject is near and dear to my heart because I lost my grandmother to Alzheimer's. It's just an unfair disease for family and loved ones. So tell us, how are you able to find the link between positive attitudes and dementia?
So there's a lot of research that has sort of suggested that personality traits, or are sort of tendencies towards specific patterns of thoughts, feelings, and behavior are linked with some of the clinical and sort of biological symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. But a lot of these studies were pretty small and sort of represented a specific sample. So my colleagues and I actually spent about 2 years basically just sort of trying to find as much data as possible where we could both look at sort of people's personality traits, usually like in midlife or something like that, or maybe early older adulthood, and then follow up with them for 10, 20 or more years to see who would and wouldn't go on to develop a dementia diagnosis, as well as after people pass to see, how much sort of biological pathology they actually had in their brains. And so what we were able actually to do then is just sort of see whether or not sort of like your personality now might have consequences for like your cognitive health later. And what we found actually was that there was good evidence across a bunch of these different samples that our personality traits are linked to our sort of like long-term cognitive functioning and our risk of developing dementia.
How do you measure positivity?
So the way we measure personality traits, the biggest way is we're called personality inventories. These are just tests that you can take about anywhere, really. There's tons of them online. And so we were specifically looking at sort of 2 different classes of these measures. One is called the Big Five. So this is sort of your tendency to be extroverted, conscientious, agreeable, open to new experiences, or neurotic. And then also we're looking at sort of subjective well-being, so tendencies towards experiencing high levels of positive or negative affect, as well as your satisfaction with your life. And so we just ask people a bunch of questions and have them sort of rate how true something is or is not of them. And just sum those up.
Wow, that's a lot of work, but it's clearly the reason why it took so long. But Alzheimer's disease, I was surprised to learn today, is currently the 3rd leading cause of death in California. But this research shows it could be mitigated by lifestyle changes, as you've been reporting in your study. How can that affect the healthcare system overall?
Yeah, I think a big challenge right now is sort of recognizing that a lot of these we call disease-modifying treatments, so things that are going to sort of reduce dementia once you're actually diagnosed, just aren't really working. And so we've sort of shifted towards looking at risk-modifying treatments. And so we think that personality traits are actually a great way to sort of think about this. I think a lot of us think of our personalities as something that isn't modifiable, but if we really think about the fact that it's these patterns of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and we recognize that people who are conscientious, for example, engage in a lot of positive health behaviors. They don't really smoke or drink that much. They exercise, they eat well, they engage in a lot of preventative health care, they go to their doctors. And the people who are high in extroversion have a lot of social interactions, which we know is also linked, to a lot of like positive things. And so what we think that this sort of suggests is if you sort of know something about your personality, and we do, people are actually really good at sort of understanding themselves. What we can do is sort of try to find people who might sort of be low in something like conscientiousness and try to help them build habits or routines that would sort of promote their health long term. Or people who are low in extroversion, we want to find ways to make sure that they get enough social engagement that could be protective for them long term. Or people who are high in neuroticism who experience lots of negative emotion have the opportunity to do something like psychotherapy or other things that are sort of used to reduce our tendencies towards experiencing all these negative emotions. And then over years and years, this should reduce your risk of at least the sort of clinical or cognitive symptoms of dementia.
That's Dr. Emery Beck. She's an assistant professor in psychology at UC Davis and lead author of this study. Other news this morning, with the trial approaching, attorneys for the man accused of killing tech entrepreneur Bob Lee are hoping to move the proceedings out of San Francisco. KCBS's Mike DeWalt reports.
Claiming Bob Lee has something of a celebrity status in the tech world, Attorneys for Nima Momeni say San Francisco isn't the right place to hold the trial.
Kind of like if a Los Angeles flanker is a victim of a homicide. You think that the defendant would be able to get a fair trial in L.A.?
I don't think so. That's Tom Zongane, attorney for Nima Momeni, accused of fatally stabbing Bob Lee following a confrontation. As part of the basis for the change in venue request, the second being photos taken by a freelance photographer appearing in local media depicting Momeni behind bars.
So inappropriate and next level ugly.
In the photos, Momeni is seen smiling and seemingly posing for the shot. During a tense exchange with reporters, attorney Bradford Cohen says they're investigating.
Nima didn't agree to have his photograph taken. We didn't agree to have his photograph taken. This was a hit job, and there's going to be ramifications.
The trial is set to start in March. The judge will decide on the change of venue request next month. At the Hall of Justice in San Francisco, Mike DeWall, KCBS.
Former San Jose Mayor Sam Liccardo has taken the first step toward running for Congresswoman Anna Eshu's seat. Liccardo has filed the paperwork to run, although he's not actually said whether he's running. He does say in a statement that he's taking steps to explore a winning race for Congress and will make a final decision before the deadline. KCBS News Time 1:38. Let's get the latest on traffic from Frank Munich.
Well, as we mentioned last time, we are seeing some very good news on the Upper East Shore. We had a crash which had all lanes shut down. This was westbound 80 at Cummings Skyway. The crash happened at 10:15. Lanes weren't reopened until about 10 to 15 minutes ago, so that was a complete closure of westbound 80 for over 3 hours. We had 3 trucks involved in this, a fuel spill involved. Again, all lanes have now reopened westbound 80 at Cummings Skyway, but we still have some stop and slow traffic approaching the scene. That should now start to dissipate. We've been dealing with a problem in Oakland. That has some good news attached to it. Southbound 880, just past High Street, we had a crash blocking the far right lane and the High Street off-ramp. Well, that crash is just now being cleared as well, and all traffic is getting through. Again, that's southbound 880 just past High Street in Oakland. Well, you can get traffic updates, including the update on that Crockett crash on X at KCBS AM/FM Traffic, and you can take KCBS with you by downloading the Odyssey app and hitting the follow KCBS button. Your next update at 1:48 on the traffic leader KCBS.
Partly cloudy skies this morning, sunshine later today. We are going to see some clouds and a slight chance of showers in the afternoon and evening. Temperatures slightly above average today, mostly in the mid-60s. Cloudy conditions for your weekend with a slight chance of rain, about 20% through Tuesday. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
Standing up for what's right. Helping out when things go wrong. Raising our voices alone or together. Seeking the truth and speaking our mind. Not just making records, but breaking them. Fighting for victory on the battlefield and on the playing field. Seeing the world through new eyes and the earth from miles above. Redefining beauty, brain, and what it really means to be queen. Making ourselves heard on stage and on screen. Showing the way in Silicon Valley. And showing up for others wherever help is needed most. Not just making our mark, but making a difference. Now that's a job for a Girl Scout. Girl Scouts, preparing girls for a lifetime of leadership.
The Friday Morning News Watch continues on KCBS. San Francisco is part of a race to get to zero when it comes to AIDS. And the city is used across the world as a model in treating the disease. But as KCBS's Megan Goldsby reports on this 35th World AIDS Day, there is still work to be done.
National AIDS Memorial President and CEO John Cunningham and I talked under a giant red neon ribbon in Golden Gate Park's AIDS Memorial Grove ahead of their annual fundraiser. He called his recent work in the South powerful, profound, and painful.
Those states are realizing increasing case rates on an annualized basis, and it is because of the lack of education, it is the lack of awareness, lack of access to health care, and at the root of that It's racism.
An echo of what was happening in the early days